Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading session. How are you guys this morning? A little bit of a soft start to the day. The overnight was especially quiet on the NASDAQ. Take a look here. You can see quite plainly on the Hawk even. Normally we'd have to scroll back a little bit on the Hawk, but the Hawk very, very quiet, still very, very sideways. Yesterday's session finally loosened up a little bit in the afternoon. Gave us a couple tradable signals, but this was the morning. This is what we were looking at in the morning, and this morning is turning out to be very similar. So we'll see how it shakes out. I'm trying not to get too excited about it. Trying to maintain my composure. So it looks like this is our trading range right here. The NQ did manage to break through the recent highs on the daily chart and form a new high. And as we saw yesterday on the daily chart, the NQ and all the stock indices looking a little bit on the weak side. Only weak in the sense that they are not making any more progress. Let me pull up an NQ daily chart here and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I was just reading a little bit more about the concerns about Greece. Just when you think it's over, it ain't over. So here's the NQ on the daily, the E-mini, the YM, they're all going to look the same. The Russell, we've had a market that has been making very strong moves higher, and then look at how we're starting to drift sideways, and the moves are becoming smaller and smaller still. So yesterday we managed to just ever so slightly poke our nose above the highs at 45.50, and then the market starts to retreat a little bit. Still finished the day fairly strong. We're certainly starting this day strong. I don't know, I can't help but think that buying above here, we're buying on vapors. Let's just see what kind of volume there is around here. So this was yesterday's session, and you can see tiny little volume bar. So maybe not a lot of participation just yet. All right, so we'll wait those guys out. I've also got soybeans up. Soybeans put in a nice rally yesterday, and now today it seems as though there might be a little bit of profit taking or something going on. If you look at soybeans on a daily chart, they will have made a rather large rounded bottom formation. Not back to the contract highs, but certainly to a significant area of resistance. And it looks like that was enough to start to turn the soybean market around a little bit. We got a trend change signal right here, a little bit of a move lower, and now we're floundering a little back to this rather significant support level from yesterday, actually. So this was soybeans yesterday. Nice move higher. Nice steady progression. We'll see if we come out of here with the trend change signal to the upside. That could be worth buying, especially coming out of this congestion area. For those of you who haven't received the email yet, we're going to take A short break from the daily trading room at the end of this week. Still, we'll be having the Wednesday open house session. The first week of July, honestly, is probably not worth trading. Independence Day falls on 1, 2, 3. Oh, where's my calendar? I know Canada Day falls on the 1st. Independence Day falls on the 4th. I haven't checked my trading calendar, or the 4th is a Saturday. Canada Day is the Wednesday, so the market's going to be a little bit soft through there anyhow. For some strange reason, I thought Independence Day was falling on a Friday this year. I'm going to have to check the trading calendar to see whether they're taking the Friday or the Monday for the holiday. Thanks, Jim. Jim giving me the pulse of the market here. He says the advanced decline, about 1,400 buyers, 1,100 sellers, so a little better than 300 to the positive. But he says the bank index is flying. I'm assuming flying to the upside, which so far does not seem to be supporting the NQ very much, does it? We are working on a rule of 3 here to the short side. Let's see, our band is bullish. We've got 1 break, 2 breaks. We have all these tiny little tests of the extreme. It's not the ideal looking rule of 3. I would be so tempted to sell that. All right, what's that going to cost me? What's this going to cost me to be wrong? All right. I'm going to throw an order in here. This is really one of these, we're tossing a dart, see how the market's responding. And they slipped me a tick also. Well, at least it was only 1 tick. So when you're looking at these rule of 3 type scenarios, they always need to be preceded by a test of the extreme, right? That's the giveaway that the market may actually be reversing and heading lower. Now, the rule of 3 is just that. It's simply a rule. In this case, you can see we're doing a rule of 2. So I'm counting on one of these tests here as being the test of the extreme. You could also, I suppose, look at it much larger and say there was our test of the extreme, and therefore the market is going to try to head lower. This is the little problem area that we're having right here. But I think we should be able to get low enough that perhaps I can at least get the stops down to break even, or perhaps roll them above one of these candles with the long wick. That's the plan right now. Come on, get down there. All right, let's put that on the shelf for the moment. I don't think I'm going to get too heavy into this, but here's a first micro macro cross, which if you didn't take the eagle trade, is another opportunity to get short. And this is one where if you get filled, you may want to let it run out rather than grab your $50 target. So here's the breakdown that we've had. Now we're getting the retest, right? So here's our test. Now we're going to retest, and providing the market doesn't slip too far back into this trading range, we should actually see the sellers take control, at least for the short term. Seems as though the advanced decline is failing a little bit. Jim says we're 1,450 to the good and 1,200 to the negative, so that's about a little better than 200, 250 positive. All right, so there's a possible first micro-macro cross. I just heard a swing signal, and that's in crude oil. We'll come back to that because it's only warming up. We're just getting our warning dot right now, or it was there. It's since disappeared. Crude oil sort of on the slide this morning, so it opened right about here. Well, actually right about here, a little bit of a run up, turned on its heel, and down they went. So crude fairly content where they are at the moment, surprisingly enough. Not what you would expect from crude oil. Normally a much more volatile type market. The big deal for the NQ will be yesterday's lows, which fell right about here. So this whole area around 45.30 is going to be difficult to breach, but if we get below there, watch out. There will be loads of room. So the struggle continues here. They're still honoring this area on the retest, which is good. The fact that they're reluctant to pick up some momentum here is a little concerning. All right, so here the retest continues. If that gets into a macro pullback, I might consider bringing my entry in a little bit. Right now I'll leave it where it's at. seeing a little bit of support come into the market now. We had a nice run lower here on the Geiger counter. Notice all the selling that was going on. Well, all the selling. The numbers on the Geiger counter are still a little bit small. All right, so now our hawk trade. Even if you had followed the macro pullback higher, it's since moved into yellow bars again. I'm going to close that out, and we'll see if this develops into a 4-arrow consolidation. That I would consider shorting. 4-arrow consolidation is the only signal I'll take on the hawk off of the yellow bar. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Working on a swing signal now also. On our Falcon, we're producing a warning dot. Well, the sellers have got to show up or the buyers are just going to walk away with this. I'm looking at this current bar, looking for this one to finish low. If it does, I'm going to roll my stop in above that bar, this one right here. In fact, I could roll my stop a little bit above this bar here, because this was a reactionary swing. You see how sellers drove the market down, buyers brought it back. Sellers drove it down, buyers are trying to bring it back. If the sellers can bring it down from here, then that's the bar I want to be above. Very important that we take out this low, this little swing low. Muy importante, as they like to say down in Mexico. Get down there. Come on. If we get this failure below this low, we'll be in good shape. We're going to start seeing the buyers scramble and probably retreat here to this 45.30 area. I was working with someone the other day, and I used this wartime analogy. I didn't even realize I did it, but this is very similar to warfare, where this is where the buyers are fighting, this is where the sellers are fighting, and if the buyers lose their control over this price here, they're going to retreat to the next line where they have major control. namely down here around 45.30. So right now the buyers are trying to defend this area around 45.34, 35, somewhere in that neighborhood. Come on. Take out that low. No, wrong way. Gotta go this way. There you go. Now you got it. Okay, crude oil working on a 3-arrow consolidation here in the hawk. Now we know with crude, we don't always get that 4th arrow building. Sometimes 3 arrows are enough. Just because crude is crude, it does tend to move a little bit faster. We are getting a second push on this one, which is nice. We can enter just below there, cover just above the high. This is very much a hit and run style trade. And here too, you can see we're getting our test and our retest. So here's our test. Here's the retest, the rebound, and now the next attempt to move the market lower. Unfortunately, I didn't get the fill right here, so maybe what I ought to do is I ought to lessen the profit objective somewhat. Because the ideal entry was right here on the hash mark. Well, if they retreat anymore, oh, you know what I'm going to do? They've got a similar signal building here on the Falcon. Why don't we take a look at that? So we're getting our warning dot on the Falcon. We don't have our triangle hash mark yet. Something to look for, something to anticipate. Oh, and here's our 4-arrow consolidation on the hawk. Oh, darn it. I should have just punched the sell order. I got to that one just a little bit too late. Here's the Raptor and the Falcon both giving us sell signals now. The band just turning over here on our Raptor. All right, here we go. The market's surprisingly, well, I shouldn't say surprisingly thin, but we're getting slipped a tick on all our entries. So this 4-arrow consolidation, since I missed out on it, I'm going to set it up how we would have liked to have entered it on the hash mark. And I don't know if they got close enough there to hit the break-even trigger or not. If that's 7 or 8 ticks, I won't take the time to figure it out right now. All right, I said I was going to roll my stop here, and now I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive with my stops. There they go. That's all the money they get to play with. If you want to know if you have the nerve to do it, the best stop is still to leave it right up there. Just let it ride. That's the best stop. But that does take a little bit more nerve. But the good news is you're going to give your trade the maximum staying power. Somebody in the room, and I forget who it was, said that very often they'll just take a trade in the morning, leave a wide stop like this, like in this case, right above the overnight high, and just allow the trade to do its thing. And more often than not, they come back to a profitable position at the end of the day. You know that one of my shortcomings is my ability to tweak myself out of a perfectly good trade. By getting too keen with my stops. So a little bit more support coming in as we are approaching yesterday's lows at 45.30. We're starting to see them dig in at around 45.33, 34. Yeah, like Jim says, large cojones. Yes, they help. They help when you're running those big stops. There you go. Come on, you know you want to. You know you want to head lower. Oh, soybeans gave us a late filter entry here on the Falcon. Pretty good looking one too. So the filter goes out of sync, the trend line does not. Well, it looks like we would have been very close to our high probability target. Soybeans, one of these markets I tend to double the profit objectives on. And we had an early trend change signal right down here. I was waiting for the trend change to come too. I guess I got too preoccupied with my NASDAQ position. Okay, come on you guys, take out that low. So let's see if we get some follow through this time. If they manage to take out the low, we're generating a sell signal. We'll know right away whether or not the buyers are going to desert this whole area by how quickly the market falls off. All right, somebody. Oh, look at that. Somebody take 33 and 3/4, 33 half. Ooh, see how the bar's starting to jump around? That means we've got some people buying down there. Maybe buying in anticipation of the trend line. Let's take a look at the Geiger counter. See if there's any spikes in the Geiger counter. No, not yet. It's fairly evenly balanced. You can see the Geiger counter dead neutral right now. All right, here they come. Let's see if there's what sort of follow through there is. Come on. Come on, sellers. Wow. No, the follow through I was looking for. There we go. You know the buyers are getting trapped out of their positions if the market starts to become more active and we go bar down, bar down, bar down. Although I suppose it is technically summer trading now, so come on, you guys. Oh, that whole 45.33 area is so problematic today. Well, at least our scalping trade would have worked out. That's a nice thing about the Hawk Scalper, of course, is the quick targets, the fast signals, the ability to capture short-term profit. All right, here we are. We've settled right on the trend line. This is that area that's been so problematic this morning. Wow, the advanced decline almost dead even. 1476 positive, 1303 negative. So what is that? About 175, 173 to the positive. No. No, I went with my more aggressive bar high-low strategy, only because, well, there's no point in giving them too much room. My alternatives are really the two extremes. I either run my stop very tight or I run my stop very loose. And in fact, here, let's do that on, oh, let's not do that on the Raptor trade. I was going to say let's run a very loose stop on the Raptor trade just to see whether or not that strategy was going to work better. So we dipped our toe in the water. Not very welcoming. Ah, well done, Michelle. Michelle says her break-even button worked on the hawk trade. I'm assuming maybe you were shorting here. And maybe the break-even saved you from incurring a loss, which is the whole point of the break-even button. When the markets are like this, I know Jim's not going to agree with me, and that's fine, but you know, if you're a smaller trader, there's nothing wrong with using the break-even button. I know it's a nuisance. I don't mean that Jim's going to disagree with me. I just mean um, I understand sometimes the break-even button is going to snap you out of a trade that would have been profitable. But those are some of the chances that you take. You can actually improve your winning ratios a little bit by using a break-even. All right, now we're back inside a smaller trading range. It's looking something like this, retesting again, not a green bar sell, actually the beginnings of a first micro macro cross higher. Well, they didn't want to pay off to the downside, not very well anyway. I'm more comfortable selling at these levels, but if we get a buy signal, well, it's pretty quiet across the board here. Crude oil coming back with sort of a selling attempt here on the Eagle. We're against the ATR, but we're about to print the hash mark. Here too, we've been channeling a little bit. We'll see what comes of that, if anything. Jim says the advanced decline getting a little bit stronger. Well, the NQ dried up for the moment. We'll give it a few more moments. Michelle is asking about the first micro-macro cross in crude oil. I think you must be referring to this one here. And she's asking, oh, the one that's developing. Developing to the upside because we weren't having one to the, oh, I see, okay. Yes, she says, I thought it was about to print, but the dots disappeared, and now it's working on another one. Would I consider taking that? Well, let's take a look here at the Eagle again. Here's the problem we're having, right? The market is a little bit range bound. There's probably enough in here that if a first micro macro cross prints early, we might be able to scalp out before we get to the top end of this trading range. But right now the market really seems to be honoring this trading range very well. So we'll see if it retreats a little bit, say if it prints around 59.90, I might give it a go. Here's the problem though. See how quickly they came down? See how they're consolidating going up? It's very reminiscent of a bear flag. If we, same thing here in reverse, the market goes up and then it's consolidating going back. And then when it's done, it goes higher. Don't know what happened there. Here's another one, big move up, consolidation coming down. Now it is a first micro macro cross, so we know it's a high probability signal. All right, so if I enter here, here's the problem. I'd like to cover it down there, and I know that's out of range for me. So if I enter it here, where can I cover it that I can still give the trade a reasonable chance of working out? I guess that's about the best that I can afford. If you can cover it below these lows, so much the better. Maybe we have just violated the top end. All right, there they go. Get up there. Go, go, go. They slipped us a tick too, did they? Well, there you go. Yeah, they did slip us a tick, but yeah, that worked out pretty well, didn't it? It's a similar thing to what we were looking at in the NASDAQ, but this one had the follow through I was hoping to see in the NQ. You know, when we were watching that area of support, whenever you encounter areas like this of obvious resistance and obvious support, now it doesn't really matter whether you draw your support and resistance levels this way or in a channel, you know there's, in this case, selling activity going on here. Right? There's a lot of people selling right around this area. And then when it fails, you get the follow through like this. Our NASDAQ trade did not nearly have that type of follow through, did it? We saw the failure. So this was the area we were watching right down here around 45.35. We saw the failure, a little bit of follow through, but hardly anything. At least not compared to what just happened on crude oil. Well done, Michelle. That was a very good call. And here we are again. Now we're printing a sell signal again. We're against the ATR. We could set it up as before, taking it below the low. This bar right here that's forming right now is going to flip our ATR over. So I'm using that bar as a guide for shorting. Notice how the ATR turned over now? So now everything is in sync. Well, crude oil just launched and something is not very pleasant is going on in the NQ. Okay, here comes that support from this nasty 45.30 area, yesterday's lows. Now this again is one of these tests. If we see the market fail here at 45.30 or whatever yesterday's lows are, we should have no problem reaching our profit objective. And notice we got slipped a tick on the entry again. So here on the Raptor trade, this needn't have been a loss if I had run the deeper stop. You know, during the summer, I think I might start doing that. Just run the really big stop, just leave it alone, let it do its thing. Because the market is obviously in a bit of a wandering mood. So how low do we need to go? 45.28. That's the lowest of the lows. Oh, come on, you guys. Come on. Come on. Oh, look at them. Oh my gosh. Everything just dried up. All right, well, we'll park that for the moment. Working on a first micro macro cross here. Not much else going on. Crude oil took off like a shot, and now they've slowed somewhat. Okay, we're getting a little warmer here. Just barely. Come on, somebody trade. Take that low. Is Joe not in the room? Joe, get in there with your 10,000 orders. And send this market lower. There we go. Come on. Don't stop now. Okay, so somebody finally broke 45.28. Little bit of a reaction there. Still not quite the follow through that we saw in a market like crude oil. That's what I'm looking for. Looking for that follow through, showing me that the buyers are really stepping away from this market. Ugh, the darn NQ. I should have stayed with crude oil. So here's the crude oil trade. Just a monster move higher by crude. Soybeans relatively quiet this morning. Well done, Josh. Josh says he got in on that crude oil trade. Well done. Well, not much else going on at the moment. We just gotta wait, I suppose, wait for our next opportunity. Soybeans a little bit non-committal this morning after I was just telling you how they very often commit to a direction. They haven't really settled on one yet. You can see the market kind of stuck also like this. After yesterday's run up, I'm not really keen on shorting it, but here we are with a sell signal. We did get a test of the extreme. Everything is in sync. Uh, well, I'm a little bit late to take it on the hash mark. Oops, and that's outside of the range. What's that? Hmm. Of course, the other thing you can always do is you can wait for the test retest. Right? You can let it break out, give you that little rebound, and then look to get in again. So you never really have to feel like rushing into a trade. There should always be another opportunity. Maybe not on the Eagle, but certainly on the Hawk or the Falcon. There we go. Come on. There we go. Now we're finally starting to get a little bit of follow through as we're seeing the buyers give up this area of support. Boy, it took them long enough. And now they stall again. Oh, man. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. All right, well, I'm at least snapping this trade to break even. And I think I'm gonna maybe even go with something. Well, I was gonna say go with the bar high low, go with something a little bit more aggressive. I'm watching these numbers roll by here. I'm really not crazy about giving it up. Yeah, Jim says the DAX is firming up again. Yeah, not much going on. Oh, wow. The advanced decline is almost dead even. Jim says we got 1474 positive, 1418 negative. Here we go. Here we go. Now they're finally tailing off a little bit. Get down there. Come on. All right. That's it. You get 1 bar. 1 bar or $150, whichever comes first. I guess the 1 bar came first. Ay, ay, ay. Tough trading today, folks. Yeah, see you, Jim. Jim says, I've had enough. I think I've just about had my fill too. The markets have dried up. Soybeans fell off somewhat. We did get a second chance to get in here on the little bit of a retest. The hawk would have been the best opportunity for that. But soybeans tailed off a little bit. Crude oil, of course, went rocketing higher, and now they're in, I think that may have been the move of the day here in crude. Not sure we're going to see them produce a whole lot more than that. Crude oil does tend to move about anywhere from 800 to, or pardon me, from 80 to 100 ticks a day. So we certainly have captured that kind of range. The stock indices just dead. And I don't think it's all summer. I think it's a lot of the stuff going on with Greece. I don't know if they've hammered out a deal yet or not to get another extension. I was trying to check some of the news. Of course, the end of the month is the big deadline. So we'll hang with it for a few more minutes, but I think we're going to close things up at the top of the hour today, unless something really starts to shake loose. Yeah, see you, Josh. Josh says, done for the day. 10 winners, 1 loser. Well done. That's fantastic, Josh. Yeah, right now there's just not anything really going on. We should see the NQ continue lower, but it has been painful. Just taking a look at a few other things here, see if there's any other opportunities out there, but I'm not really seeing anything. All right, you guys, if you are going to be trading this afternoon, it's going to be tough. We're back testing this, retesting this area. I would expect some sort of failure here and perhaps the NQ to head lower. If you're trading crude oil, well, crude oil could be in for a big retracement actually after this morning's strong rally. Well, maybe not a big retracement, but some sort of retracement. And soybeans still heading a little bit lower. So if you're in your soybean trade, you may want to hang on for a little bit longer. Tomorrow is our Wednesday session. It's going to be at the open house, the public trading room. So I guess we'll see you guys then. Talk to you then. Bye for now.